ladies and gentlemen? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Tuesday. How's everyone doing today? Merry Christmas Eve. What's going on, guys? Fahid, Gorman, Brands, Brooklyn. Appreciate you guys for joining. Hey, guys. Bitcoin currently trading at 87,392 and 61 cents. We are currently down 0.11% on the day. Let's go refresh our liquidation heat map and see where we're at. Probably got our weekend vibes going on with the holiday coming up. What's going on here? There we go. Actually, it does not seem that bad. We've got a lot of liquidity to the downside. They're probably going to grab this 87,141. I don't see why they wouldn't grab this. And I don't know if they're going to go all the way down here, 85,109. We've been trading pretty consistently in between 85 and 90K, so that wouldn't be surprising to me. 88,190. And I think this is, yeah. This goes all the way up to 89,895. He'd said, look at all that liquidity to the downside. Yeah, there's quite a bit, isn't there? 48 million, 43 million. 39 million, 44 million, 38, 24, 37, 11, 30, 14, 27, 16, 19, 29, 26. Yeah, there's a lot. And then up here, there's less. There's definitely less up top. So I would not be surprised to see some downside. I don't know. Is Christmas usually green? That's a good question. That's a great question. Let's see. Bitcoin 87,404 and 95 cents. Bitcoin dominance 59.69. Nice. Struggling hopefully to get above 59.80. I want to see this thing just plummet. Like bad. I want to see this thing dump so hard that people stop talking about it because they're embarrassed. That's what I want to see. But until then, Bitcoin's going to continue to trade in this little baby range, this little weenie junior range. You know, who knows what happens? Maybe we'll get one of these again where it goes boop and just scares a bunch of people for no reason. It is quite comical. RSI did get a bearish cross yesterday and has consistently traded below the moving average ever since. We got a red dot in the momentum wave yesterday as well, pointing to the downside. Positive money flow since about Thursday, Friday, December 18, 19. We'll see if that continues. It looks good right now, though. ETH is currently down 0.68% on the day, currently trading at 29.44 and 94 cents. Back below 3K, which is not great. I suppose holding 28.61 is going to be an important level, and that's strictly based on previous price action. Yeah. Previous resistance turns support. So let's see if that actually is support. I do see kind of a funky head and shoulder potential there. You know, I'm not gonna bet the farm on it, but I feel like it has legs at the very least as a possibility. And the frugal downside target for that, not financial advice, would be approximately 2,400. We'll see what happens. If that happens at all, or if it does, will it happen before or after the new year? We do have consistent positive money flow on ETH since the beginning of December, so that's good. What would be awesome is if this head and shoulder pattern invalidated with a violent upside candle, pushing us above 3,500. That would be pretty cool. But we'll see what happens. Blockchain Brew said, hey, JJ, what's going on, Blockchain Brew? Merry Christmas Eve, my friends. Solana's down 1.02% on the day. We are breaking out of this downtrend. We got a sideways chop out of the upper trend line. Currently sitting at 122.78. Can we get back above the purple neckline? I'm going to have to extend that because it's not out far enough. Let me make sure that I Put it back where it belongs. Let's pull it out. I guess as far as we can go, let's go like right there. I like that. Okay. Blockchain Brew said we were going down 75K on the table. We are going down. I don't know about 75K. I'm not looking that far out. Pickle Rick said, "What up, gang? What's going on?" Pickle Rick. Yeah, Solana down 1.06% on the day, 122.69. Are we gonna continue to hold this upper trend line, or are we gonna break below it? We did say a while ago that $100 is on the table for Solana. Hopefully that proves to be wrong, but you never know. RSI did get a bearish cross over the moving average on Monday, and we've traded below that ever since. We got positive, negative, flip-floppy, money flow. Red dot on the momentum wave point to the downside. Total 3 down 0.38% on the day. Let's see, we got a bounce off 800 billion and a seeming rejection of this yellow trend line, which is, oh geez, probably August. I'm going to say August 2024. That seems to be where all the trend lines start. Yep. So let's see if we end up going down to our October 2023 trend line, which I think is why my $711 billion guess is there. Hopefully that turns into like 725 or something with the extended timeline. Midnight has been strength gangsta. I think it was down 25% yesterday. So you have to get in at the right time. You know, people that bought here are very, very much not happy. People that bought here are probably okay. People that bought here are even more happy. It's all about perspective. Does look good though. We got bullish div, established bullish div, kind of. I don't know. We'll see. Where was I? ADA down 0.88% on the day, consistently trading around 36 cents. As if that's an accomplishment. The fact that it's below 30 is just embarrassing. We are having consistent trouble getting above 38. We're bouncing off of 36 relatively consistently though, which is good. Can we stay above that? If not, can we at least hold 35? I don't know. It's turning into psychological, which is kind of an excuse at this point. But we'll see what happens. Silver has been crazy. Pick Rick said I bought at both. Nice. Yeah, silver's been flying. Snag is down 4.05% on the day. We got another crazy wick, or is this the same one from Monday? I think it's the same one. We got 2 wicks indicative of some selling pressure. It does look like a snake though, which is cool. Let's see. Is this going to be some kind of a consolidation that we can break bullish out of? I have no idea. We're having trouble getting back above the moving average on the RSI ever since Sunday. We'll see if that changes. As of right now, 0.0097. We lost that 0 again. Can we get back above 0.001 and stay above it with the conviction? We've got kind of like we got a cloud on the lower half of market cipher with a lot of green dots. And now we're kind of just consolidating like in the midpoint. Is that going to result in some kind of squeeze to the upside? I have no idea. That's my hope. Blockchain Bruce said I first bought silver at 14 and again at 24. Very nice. Night is down 4.36% on the day, currently trading at 0.075. 0.075 is going to be next psychological level, as well as, I mean, what should be some kind of semblance of support based on these two tops. Otherwise, we're looking at, and this is very, very little like price action here, so these are not guaranteed levels, but they're just ideas based on where the price is traded before. I don't know. It's sloppy, but if we lose 75, can we see 64 as the next support? It's possible. We'll keep an eye on it though. RSI approaching the 40 level. I think below 30 is oversold, so let's see if we end up going below that. Red dot on the momentum wave pointing to the downside, and positive money flow since Friday. XRP is down 0.62% on the day, currently trading at 186.17. Are we going to find support at 184? I feel like we could. If not, we are looking at this lower trend line again, and $1.57 as the next like uber bearish level. Let's see if this lower trend line has any relevancy. It is a little bit sloppy, but we'll see what happens. We do have a potential inverse head and shoulders situation here. Let's see if that turns into anything. That'd be pretty cool. RSI got a bearish cross over the moving average on Sunday and has traded below ever since. We have an unconfirmed red dot on market cipher, red dot on the momentum wave, point to the downside, and negative money flow. I'm going to skip some, skip, arrow down 0.76% on the day, currently trading at 48.10. Holding above 48 vaguely. Let's see if that continues. That would be ideal. If we lose that, then 40 is on the table for a nice psychological level. Green dot on the momentum wave, point to the upside, negative money flow, unconfirmed green dot on market cipher, and bearish cross over the moving average on the RSI on Sunday. And it has consistently traded below the moving average ever since. Avalanche down 1.07% on the day, lower trend line intact. We got a possible support around 12. We're at 12.05 right now. RSI got a bearish cross over the moving average on, I'm going to call it today. Well, no, we got like 2 failed attempts to get above. I'm going to call it Sunday. Consistently trading below it ever since. Rejecting 2, 3, 4 times. Red dot on the momentum wave, point to the downside. Money flow has been negative pretty consistently since like November. Maybe even, I don't know, it's been, majority of the time it's been negative. That's kind of crazy. We did get a confirmed green dot on December 18th, but that got kind of invalidated by this monstrous red bearish engulfing candle. Chainlink is down 0.97% on the day, currently trading at 12.27. Let's see, we broke below 12.39, and we look like we might be rejecting it right now. We got a bearish cross over the moving average in the RSI on Sunday. We got a little fake out back here, and a rejection right there. So, probably pushing down. Red dot on the momentum wave, point to the downside. Pretty consistent negative money flow. Gotta go to clean up before the show. Take it easy, Blockchain Brew. Appreciate you guys. Go check out Blockchain Brew. Great guys over there. Silver. Silver's up 1.03%. Surprise, surprise. Currently trading at $72.19. What is going on? Silver is on a monstrous run. There are no pullbacks for silver. I don't know what this means. Everyone's freaking out about it. Well, I don't know. I don't know if do you call them smart? Do you call them something else? The stock market's at all-time highs, and for some reason, silver is going insane, and gold, and all other precious metals. It's definitely strange, to say the least. My next target here is 77, and if we get above that, we're probably, I don't know. Are we going to 100? Who knows? I thought we were gonna pull back at 69 for sure. The momentum wave has been on the bullish half of market cipher for forever now. Volumes out of control. We are incredibly overbought at 72.1990. Let's see if we hit 77. It's gonna be a crazy time for sure. DXY 97.80. I think, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this. I think we got a oh shoot, I don't even remember. Is it a golden cross? I think that the dollar value is projected to go up in the near term, which is not great for everything but the dollar. So it's gonna be interesting to watch. Right now we're at 97.80. If this continued to fall, that would be great. That would be ideal for our super cycle golden age scenario. MicroStrategy down 3.92% on the day, currently trading at 157.62. Again, I don't know why anyone would buy this. I hope they do great. I really do, but I don't see it. I really don't. This is probably the best time to buy if you are bullish on MicroStrategy. I think that their Bitcoin strategy is brilliant. I don't think that I would ever buy it, though. Like the stock, I would just buy Bitcoin at that point. You know what I mean? We are looking at a potential double bottom, little W right here, which is good. I hope that that's what happens. I kind of see this actually. It looks very similar to that. I'm going to pull that fractal just for fun because I feel like it's been a long time since we pulled a fractal. I'm going to do that. And it's just a little bit. Yeah, it looks very similar. Gourmet Brands of Brooklyn said the silver move is from that. It's needed for AI data centers and chips. That makes sense. Are they so the AI bubble is not really a bubble right now? It's so confusing, dude. Are they like if I sell my silver bars and bullion, are they gonna melt it down and put it in chips and data centers? You know what I mean? Am I asking rhetorical like boomer questions that is stupid? I don't know. Maybe I'm just being silly. But yeah, let's see if I guess it feels good to have some kind of a concept, some kind of an idea for MicroStrategy. So this makes me feel a little bit better. What's interesting too is it does kind of reject off this 300 level. So certain things line up very nicely. We are projected for a potential all-time high. I really wanted to get to 500. I would have told you, oh, it needs a 65% pullback before I can get there. So I'm not gonna claim that I was a genius from that call if it does hit 500. Because if I was trading this, I'd be pissed. It got to 455, and then it kind of fell from there, and that's currently sitting at 157. I would be devastated if I was all in on MicroStrategy. You shouldn't be all in on anything, to be completely honest, but NASDAQ, looking good. The recoupling of the NASDAQ fractal has, I think, played out. I'm pretty happy with this. Now, are we going to trade sideways for the foreseeable future until January 15th? Maybe. That'd be kind of crazy. Are we going to pump and dump with each one of these moves? I have no idea. That'd be kind of crazy too. That would be equally as crazy. I think this would be less cruel because at least it's tradable. You know, it looks like something's happening. If we just do this, this would be god awful. Could you imagine the price like staying within like a $500 range for a month? People would be so mad. I feel like that's what Bitcoin's been doing though. So S&P 500 looks beautiful. We almost hit new all-time highs today. We're at 69. Nice. 09. Are we going to continue to the upside? Now, if I scoot this where I wanted to scoot it, it does call for some sideways very soon. Again, though, it's just a fractal. It's just an idea. It's not gospel. I'm not saying that this is for sure what's exactly going to happen. It's just an idea. And the S&P 500 is weirdly easy to predict. We got a nice size pullback there. The fractal kind of called the entire move very nicely. We get that funky looking inverse head and shoulder idea as well, with some support around 6,700. I think we bounced around 6,720, 6,730. So looks great. Ask Fractal 3.0 is proving fruitful. Bitcoin dominance 59.68. Again, we want to see this reject. Hopefully it's not doing some kind of flag thing or wedge or whatever you want to call it. Bitcoin itself 87.17 and 50 cents. We are liquidating the bulls, which we knew was going to happen. There was way too much liquidity to the downside. So that is not surprising. Look at that. They just, oh my gosh, they're just eating it up. That's crazy. Yeah, there was no way they were going to leave that on the table. I'm sorry. I feel like kind of rude saying this, but if you open up a trade and your stop loss is that close, you're an idiot. That's just, maybe not stop loss, I'm sorry, your liquidation point. If you open up a trade and your liquidation point is that close, you are an idiot. Because you're probably using like 50, especially on Bitcoin. What are you using, like 100x? Come on, guys. If you're going to gamble, just go buy a Mega Millions ticket or something. It's out of control. Let's get to some news articles while Bitcoin takes a little dump-a-rooney here. 86,989. We got a lot of news to cover today, so bear with me. Bank of Russia considers allowing unqualified investors to purchase crypto. US Q3 GDP rises to 4.3% higher than expectations. President Trump says tariffs are responsible for the great economic numbers just announced, and they will only get better. Coinbase enables Solana deposits and withdrawals via the Base network. Very cool. U.S. crypto czar David Sachs says the golden age is here. Nobody knows what that means, but I'm ready. President Trump says inflation will take care of itself, and if it doesn't, we can always raise rates. President Trump says anybody that disagrees with me will never be the Fed chairman. I thought that I literally laughed out loud when I read that because it's true, but him saying it just made it funny to me. Silver surpasses Apple to become the third largest asset in the world by market cap. That's pretty crazy. S&P 500 closes above 69.09. Nice for the first time in history. Gold reaches new all-time high of 4,500. Whales stake 1.7 million. Sol staked by wallet, whatever. That's pretty cool. 1.7 million Solana. That's a lot of Solana. They're staking it too, which means they got a little bit of conviction. Whale clips 27 minutes ago. A wallet associated with Galaxy HQ receives 500 million USDC from a Surify loan. Stablecoin mint 5 minutes ago. Another 500 million USDC issued on Solana by the Circle Treasury. Rolling 1 month total USDC issued on Solana hits $8 billion. That is a lot of money. The U.S. leveraged loan market is under pressure. The default rate for leveraged loans was above 4% for 22 consecutive months, matching the 2008 financial crisis streak. This downturn lasted 2 times longer than during the 2020 pandemic. However, in November, the default rate fell to 3.7%, officially ending the streak. Importantly, defaults peaked below 5% this cycle, far below the 8% high posted in 2009. On the other hand, the 5-year cumulative default rate rose to 16% this year, nearly matching the 17% level seen in 2012. This comes as the U.S. leveraged loan market has tripled since 2012 to a record $2 trillion. Leveraged loan investors are seeing large losses. Breaking U.S. GDP growth surges to 4.3%, the strongest growth since Q4 2023. The U.S. announces that tariffs on Chinese semiconductors will be zero until 2027. That was huge news. I don't think that news has really hit the market yet. President Trump said the tariffs are responsible for the great U.S. economic numbers just announced, and they will only get better. Also, no inflation and great national security. Pray for the U.S. Supreme Court, President Donald J. Trump. The Supreme Court ruling, I don't know when that is. We need to actually figure that out. Let me see. When is Supreme Court ruling on tariffs? That's going to be a big deal. Do we get to know? When to expect a Supreme Court ruling? Oh, jeez, who knows, man? Yeah, apparently we don't know. Apparently we're never going to know. We do know how long the government likes to take to do stuff. Bitcoin 87,138 and 96 cents. It looks like they grabbed that liquidity and maybe got a little bounce up right there, which is very nice. Guys, don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll be here tomorrow and on Christmas. I cannot guarantee a time on Christmas, but I can guarantee that I will be here, even if it's for just 20 minutes. Okay, they grabbed a little bit. We're getting a weird bounce here. Interesting. This guy got lucky. Whoever these people are, $44.59 million worth of people right here. You guys got lucky. Anyways, continuing. Crypto ETF selling pressure is back. Crypto funds recorded 952 million in outflows last week, ending a streak of 3 consecutive weekly inflows. Investors have now withdrawn capital in 6 out of the last 10 weeks. Ethereum ETFs posted 555 million in outflows, followed by 460 million from Bitcoin funds. Meanwhile, Solana and XRP continued to attract inflows last week at 48.5 million and 62.9 million, respectively. Despite the recent pullback, crypto funds have recorded 46.7 billion in inflows year to date. Leverage is driving volatile sentiment in crypto. What is kind of crazy to me about this is the outflows. I don't think that the prices were that much higher or lower. I'm pretty sure they were higher when the ETFs went live. Correct me if I'm wrong. Are people selling at a loss? Are people selling their ETFs at a loss? It just seems kind of goofy to me. Platinum prices surge above 2,200, now at their highest since June 2008. Platinum prices are now on track for their 9th consecutive daily gain, the longest streak in at least 2 years. Over this period, platinum prices have rallied 32% and are just 5% away from the intraday all-time high set in March 2008. Year-to-date, platinum prices have surged 142%, putting the metal on track for the best year since at least the 1960s, far surpassing the previous records of 87% in 1978 and 96% in 1979. This comes as the London market is seeing tightened physical supply, with the banks moving metal to the U.S. to hedge against potential tariffs. At the same time, exports to China have been strong this year, while the launch of platinum futures trading in Guangzhou is boosting demand. The platinum market is experiencing a supply-driven squeeze. That's crazy. U.S. stocks extended gains with the S&P 500 now nearing 6,900. Nice. The S&P 500 is less than 10 points away from a record close. Hell yeah. Is the gold rally still early? I feel like this is such a dangerous sentiment to have. Gold prices relative to cash are now at their highest level since at least the 1960s, officially surpassing the 1980 peak. At the same time, gold prices relative to U.S. government bond prices are at their highest since the 1980s, the late 80s. Gold prices relative to the S&P 500 are at the highest since 2020 pandemic. This comes as gold prices have surged 119% over the last 2 years, crossing 4,500 an ounce for the first time. Over the same period, cash has returned 9.7%, bonds minus 4%, and the S&P 500 is up 45%. However, gold prices remain minus 50% and minus 17% below the 1980 peak relative to stocks and bonds respectively. Gold's rally could still be early. That is such a crazy concept, and I'm starting to think that it might be right. And that really makes me, I don't know, my brain cannot comprehend what's happening with silver right now. It's just non-stop. And that's coming from a guy who like witnessed the 2021 cryptocurrency bull market. So it's blowing my mind a little bit. Silver extends gains to a record 71 per ounce, now up nearly 150% year to date. We are quite literally witnessing one of the most historic runs in precious metals ever. President Trump says anyone who disagrees with him will never be Fed chairman. He also says he wants new Fed chair to lower interest rates if the market is doing well. Own assets. The current situation. U.S. GDP growth is at its strongest pace since 2023. CPI inflation unexpectedly fell to 2.7 last month. Unfortunately, with the CPI inflation data, they literally assumed that the information during the government shutdown was just zero inflation, which that's like majority of the information. And that's why it fell to 2.7%. The data was kind of bad. Trump is appointing a new Fed chair who will cut rates. Oil prices are down to their lowest level since 2021. Equity ETFs have attracted a record $1.4 trillion in 2025. Magnificent 7 AI investment is now above $600 billion per year. How can you fight this momentum? You probably can't. The odds of Fed pausing rate cuts in January 2026 surged to a new high of 86% per Polymarket. Fed Chair Powell is about to halt rate cuts again, even as core inflation hits its lowest level since March 2021. I don't think that that's true. This happened last time. They said we were going to get no rate cut for like a week, and then all of a sudden it flipped. So I think we're going to take this Polymarket bet, and I think we're going to bet on a rate cut in January just for the hell of it. And if we lose, we lose. But I think it'd be a fun idea because they did this for the December rate cut. They were like, we're going to get a rate cut. And then we were probably at the middle point of our wait time. And they were like, we're not going to get a rate cut. There's no way they're cutting rates. And then we got to like a week prior and they're like, oh, we're going to get a rate cut. So people who bet on a rate cut during that dip definitely won. They won big. U.S. energy inflation is accelerating. CPI energy prices jumped 4.2% year over year in November, the fastest pace since February 2023. This marks the second consecutive acceleration following a 2.8% year over year increase in September. The surge was driven by fuel oil, electricity, and utility gas services, with prices up 11.3%, 6.9%, and 9.1% respectively. As a result, the index of average U.S. energy prices is up 284.2 points, the highest level since May 2024. Energy prices are now 58% above 2020 pandemic levels, but remain 14% below the June 2022 all-time high. Energy inflation pressures are building again. I don't understand why this is happening, because energy everywhere, like across the board, is down, like from a stock perspective. So prices going up is a little confusing to me. Shocking stat of the day: interest costs on U.S. public debt may reach as much as $2.2 trillion over the next decade. This would mark a 127% increase from the $970 billion reported in fiscal year 2025. That's crazy. This comes as the government is projected to borrow $2 trillion annually over the next decade, pushing interest payments even higher alongside rising debt. As a result, at least 50% of the money borrowed each year will go solely to service this debt. The U.S. is on an unsustainable fiscal path. History: 15 years ago, Bitcoin pioneer Hal Finney said, "I see Bitcoin as ultimately becoming a reserve currency for banks, playing much the same role as gold did in the early days of banking." Very cool. RIP. 2025 crypto trading wrapped. This one made me laugh. You got liquidated 19 times. You bought Bitcoin at the top 5 times. You panic sold the bottom 30 times. You paid more in fees than you made. Still better than the 9 to 5 fiat Ponzi. I actually disagree with this last line. 2025 is the one year that proved you need to have a job, which you should anyways. You know, you got to diversify your income. You got to diversify your fiat mining. But I don't know. At the end of the day, you still can't spend Bitcoin peer-to-peer at every single store. So you got to pay your bills somehow. Update to Franklin Templeton's XRP ETF has crossed 100 million XRP in holdings for the first time, now holding 101.55 million XRP, worth $192.7 million. Very cool. Two wallets lost, this is a PSA again, two wallets lost 2.3 million USDT after private key compromise. Funds were converted to 757.6 ETH and sent through Tornado Cash per PeckShield. That's crazy. Ethereum treasury firm SharpLink reported $460 in ETH staking rewards last week, bringing cumulative rewards to 9701 ETH. I don't get. Did they get 460 ETH or $460? I need to phrase that better. Gnosis announced a hard fork to restore funds from the balancer vulnerability, with the assets now out of hacker control. So I'm assuming there was a hack somewhere, and they fixed it, which is cool that they fixed it, but it's a little sus that they can do that. $74 million liquidated across the crypto market in the last 60 minutes. I will say, if I had money stolen from a hacker or from some kind of compromise, and the chain that it was stolen from did this and made me whole, I would be eternally grateful. You know, decentralization be damned. I would like my money to not disappear, so I'm kind of okay with that at that point. $74 million liquidated across the crypto market in the last 60 minutes. That was 11 hours ago, which is pretty crazy. BanX says Bitcoin tends to rally after sharp hash rate declines, with Bitcoin posting positive returns in the following 90 days in 65% of cases when the hash rate is shrinking. Interesting. Update: whale capitulation appears to be pausing, with realized losses from new whales now flattening after driving the drop from 124K to 84K. Philly said, "Hey friends, what's going on, Philly? Happy Tuesday, my friend. Cheers." Guys, don't forget to smash the like button. I appreciate you guys for joining. We are Christmas Eve tonight. We will be streaming Christmas Eve and Christmas Day as well. I'm going to put the Santa hat on because I can. Oh, yeah. Let's go. All right. U.S. GDP grew 4.3% in Q3 2025, beating the previous quarter's 3.8%, as consumer spending, exports, and government outlays lifted economic activity despite weaker investment. Derek said, JJ's Crypto Corner is where I go for my daily news. Very nice. I'm glad people like the news segment. I am, because I feel like I might lose viewership on the news segment, but I feel like it's really important, useful information. And this is actually when I get my crypto news as well. So I'm kind of doing it for selfish reasons. All right, let's see. Bitcoin is printing bullish divergences against gold and the dollar while still failing to reclaim 90K, even as gold nears a 4.5K record and whales pile into shorts. Update: the probability of a Fed cut in January has dropped to 13.3%, down from 28.8%. See what I mean? It's already down 50%. We can go back and track. Oh, I wonder if they actually have that chart. We can go back and see that during the, like I said, the time in between the last Fed rate cut and like 2 weeks prior, they were like, we're going to get a rate cut. And then they went, we're not going to get a rate cut. We're definitely not getting a rate cut. And then they were like, we're going to get a rate cut. And then we ended up getting a rate cut. So during that valley in between, the probability, if you place bets on that low point, you can make a crap ton of money. And I think you can actually trade it. Don't quote me on this, but I believe you can buy in and cash out in the middle of it. So you can kind of trade that probability anyways. Philly said, OMG, do you have to wear the baseball cap with the Santa? Yes, I do. Yes, I do, Philly. It feels weird when I don't have the baseball cap on. I'm gonna make these. I'm gonna make these and sell them as merch. I think that'd be hilarious. I remember there was like a beanie with like a bill inside of it. And God, it looked like crap, dude. If you wore that, I wore that. And I was like a sweaty, fat middle schooler. And I think that that's the only demographic that could pull that off, is a fat, sweaty middle schooler. That was such a fat, sweaty middle schooler beanie. Cheers, guys. Happy Tuesday. All right. Gold and silver continue to rise on safe haven demand, while Bitcoin remains range bound as weak demand and short-term holders selling cap upside. Here's the thing. Gourmet Brands of Brooklyn might have just hit the nail on the head. It said the silver move is from that it's needed for AI data centers and chips. Silver and gold are both needed for that. And they are quite topical when it comes to Christmas, but that's besides the point. Silver and gold are needed for electronics and for high-end electronics. And with the price of like chips and like even RAM just skyrocketed recently. With that stuff going crazy, honestly, that might be due to silver and gold's run. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It kind of makes sense that those things are going on crazy runs. It says safe haven demand, but we don't know if that's true because the economy is doing great right now. People don't hedge against that. Like, I don't know. People don't plan ahead that far, and they don't usually predict it correctly. So I know I say it 1,000 times. I sound like a broken record, but it is going to be interesting to see how everything plays out for sure. Circle minted $1.5 billion worth of USDC over the past week, including $500 million issued today. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think stablecoin dominance is going to continue to just go crazy. Another solo Bitcoin miner has successfully mined a block, earning 3.12 Bitcoin worth about $281,000. That's crazy. I think I'm going to get a desktop miner. Next Bitcoin target, 250K, according to Trending Bitcoin, bull run 2025 to 2026. Let's freaking go. Let's go, boys. I'm assuming this is log scale. We got a monster run first cycle, monster run second cycle, third, fourth, fifth. So it actually, you can see the trajectory change, which just kind of goes along with what we were talking about on a shorter term time frame. I think with, was it total 3? Or total 2 or total 1 or something. Let me double check. I think it was total crypto market cap. Total crypto market cap. Let's go to the daily and zoom. Yeah, see, you can see the same concept playing out here on a shorter term time frame with the alternating trajectory. You get a massive quick pump and then a very slow bleed. A slightly less quick pump and a faster bleed, and then a really prolonged pump and a super fast bleed, dump essentially. Now we're going to get a crazy long uptrend and then potentially a like violent spike to the downside. And that is kind of alternating versus what this chart is showing. Everything is extending. This goes along with the whole extended cycle theory. You got a super duper fast rise, super duper fast dump, slightly slower rise, slightly slower dump, really slow rise, really slow dump, tremendously long amount of time pump, a tremendously long amount of time dump, and it just keeps getting longer and longer every single time. We are in this right here, the beginning of our pump, essentially, up to 250K allegedly. Not financial advice. It is, I don't know, pretty convincing. It's convincing to me. Nice primo copium at JJ's Cryptic Corner. You're welcome. Next, we've got Elon Musk's Grok AI predicts Bitcoin will reach 150K to 220K in 2026. My reasoned prediction. This is Grok 4.1 beta. Now, we've seen, I don't remember, maybe it was Bybit or something. Someone was doing let me see if I can find it. AI trading. Someone was doing an AI trading contest thing where they had AI trading. Yeah, it's Aster. So they have Okay, maybe it wasn't Aster. They have a new thing on Aster. It was like the beginning of the month, and they were all doing really bad. And they revealed a new version of Grok was actually like a secret trader. Is it this? Top performers, DeepSeek, Grok, Claude. And it was the only one that was positive. The rest of them were negative. Is it this one? Alpha Arena? I think it was this one. Yeah, almost all of them were negative. It looks like OpenAI maybe was a little bit positive. What did they start with? I don't know. It's hard to tell. But there was an outlier. Like Grok was one of the worst performers, and then they had the new version of Grok was the only one that was actually performing very well. This one shows something else. It was really interesting data. We talked about it on stream when it was happening. It was the beginning of the month. Yeah, trading contest, Grok secret. Let me see if I can find it. There was a secret trader, and it turned out to be Grok. So they had like the current version and the new version. Here it is, right here. AI trading tournament has concluded with the secret mystery model revealed as Grok 4.2, delivering a 12.11% return in just 2 weeks. So we got OG Grok did horrible. We've got, they all started at 10K. I think DeepSeek is in there. Google's thing is in there. ChatGPT. They all literally closed the 2-week contest at a loss, except for Grok 4.2. Grok 4.2 closed positive, which is sick. Now, that being said, this is 4.1. So this one predicting Bitcoin 150 to 220 is the one that traded the worst. So take that information as you will. It's not 100% reliable. But the reasoned prediction, based on the distribution of recent forecasts, historical cycle behavior, and ongoing ETF institutional support, I estimate Bitcoin could end 2026 in the 150 to 220K range, This assumes moderate recovery from current levels, continued but slower ETF inflow, and no major macroeconomic shocks. A more conservative outcome around 120 to 150 is possible if risk-off sentiment persists, while stronger global liquidity could push toward the higher end. Always diversify and manage risk, and consider that Bitcoin can experience 50% plus drawdowns even in bull cycles. This is not financial advice. Do your own research. Guys, don't forget to smash the like button. Appreciate you guys for being here. Bitcoin 2020 to 2021 fractal is showing a rally towards 100K here. After that, Bitcoin next leg down could start. And this is strictly based on what happened during 2021. If you are going off of that theory that this is a double top as well, and we're basically repeating what happened last time, 4-year cycle, all that jazz. Billy said, what are the Grok stats based on, and what does the new Grok do that others do not? I have no clue. I just know that Grok 4.2 apparently is the only one that did better, or that closed positive, while the rest of them closed at a loss. So yeah, we got 2021, 2025. This fractal right here, which is based on this pullback, shows us possibly returning to 100K from where we're at currently. Bitcoin Magazine posted Bitcoin is stuck 85 and 90K. Love me some Austin Powers. Altcoins are almost as oversold as they were during the pandemic. Look at that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Bar chart posted total number of U.S. families with children under 18 years old has fallen to the fewest this century. That's crazy as well. Population growth is slowing. That is for sure. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again today. People can't afford to have kids. And they're making the wise decision to not have kids because they can't afford it. AMC plunges to a new all-time low. I think I'm going to buy some AMC stock. Just because. It's at $1.71. Are you freaking crazy? U.S. dollar forms a golden cross for the first time this year. The last one sent it higher by 4% over the next 6 weeks. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Golden cross on the DXY. We're looking at a potential rebound, which is not great for crypto. Silver now outperforming gold by the largest margin in almost 5 years, closing in on the greatest outperformance in more than a decade. That is crazy. Wall Street banks are the most aligned on stock market predictions since 2017. That's crazy. Herd mentality. Wall Street's 2026 stock forecasts are unanimously bullish and clustered. Gap between the highest and lowest year-end S&P 500 target. Stock market hits highest level of greed in 3 months. Speaking of greed, let's go check crypto fear and greed. Today we are at 24 extreme fear still, which I don't know. If this wasn't so clumped up, I could actually see how long this lasted. It looks like maybe March 2020 until about May. Let's go with May. Like an entire 2 months. And right here, we kind of crossed below 10. Well, we actually haven't even gotten below 10, which kind of sucks. But we've touched 10. See, it's so hard. When was the first one that was really bad? I'm going to go November 14th. December, January. So we're looking at like January 14th-ish maybe for a possible push up. That's just in sentiment. We've seen through this chart actually that sentiment can do good even though the price is doing bad, which is interesting to observe. Let's go take a look at coin market caps, fear and greed as well. Yeah, this almost has a like a decoupling from the price, fear and greed, because we're at like extreme fear. Or just regular fear on this specifically. But the Bitcoin price is much higher than it was way the heck back here in January 2024. And sentiment here was 50, which is neutral. That's kind of crazy. All right, continuing news. We've got wage garnishment for student loan borrowers in default will begin the week of January 7th, 2026. That's a crazy one. I guess it's a PSA for anyone out there with defaulted student loans. See what you can do about getting those expunged. Silver is now outperforming gold by the largest margin in more than a decade. Oh, that actually was really, really fast. Wow. 22 hours ago and 8 hours ago. Whew, that did not take long at all. Holy crap. Campbell's Soup plunges to its lowest level since the global financial crisis. That's crazy. I didn't know Campbell's was a publicly traded company. No soup for you. That's so good. That's so funny. Now the Campbell's execs are the poor people. Ooh. I will say Campbell's Soup, when you're poor, is fantastic. So regardless of whether or not that guy had ill intentions behind his words, the facts are facts. And when I have no money, I go straight for Campbell's Soup or ramen. But Campbell's, it's nice to have. You don't have to be a dick about it, but it is nice to have. My favorite was because I don't know if you guys know, the Campbell Soup guy was like caught on an audio recording being like, "Our soup is for poor people. I wouldn't eat that crap. It's got genetically engineered meat in it." And somebody was like, "They got genetically engineered meat, and they still only give you 2 cubes of chicken in the chicken soup." It's like, damn, that's so true. Even with genetically engineered crap, they're still stingy with it. Philly said, "Sorry, but I cannot feel sorry for the students bring in debt from their student loans." I mean, I'm 50-50 on it because I was a student once upon a time, and I know how predatory the loan officers can be. I had mine literally tell me that, like, if I needed extra money for like rent or a car, to let them know, and they could get me like more loan to like pay for that crap, which is the weirdest shit. Like, once that started happening, I was like, this is a little odd. And then I ended up dropping out, and then the school shut down, so I can't even go. I can't even go back. It's gone. The entire. It's like a small. Think of ITT Tech. You guys remember ITT Technological Institute? That one was a big farce, where they're like shut down and their credits were basically useless. Tyler said, "Hey friends, just needed to drop by. Missed you peeps. What's going on, Tyler? How you doing, my friend? Merry Christmas. If I don't see you, hope you're doing well." But yeah, my school disappeared. Credits were non-transferable. So this was back in like 2012, 2013. I filled out the paperwork to have my student loans dismissed, and it took years to hear back. And they were like, "No." And I was like, "Well, shit. I got to start making payments." And I start making payments, and then it's in limbo again. Biden's presidency comes into play, and it's in limbo, and then they look into it. They're like, "Hey, we looked into this," and apparently they were just like blanket denying everyone that filled this out. Crypto Zach said, "Happy holidays, bro. Happy holidays, my friend. Cheers." And I don't know if they just blanket accepted all of those people or something, but my student loans got forgiven, which is pretty sick. Not that I could use the credits to begin with, but I'm still pretty happy with it. Taylor said, "JJ, what's the scoreboard? Goat beating my ass yet?" No, I've been busy at work, Tyler. You're probably gonna take it. The scoreboard's wrecked because my work schedule has completely decimated the daily close contest. All right, Bitcoin is chilling 87,196.55. Oh, last but not least, Nike insider trading alert. Apple CEO Tim Cook just purchased 50,000 Nike shares for a total investment of $2.95 million. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Why I don't understand why anyone would buy Nike. And maybe that's because I'm not into sports, but I feel like there's better brands out there. I don't know. Oh yeah. Bitcoin getting a little recovery here. Dominance has been, I think, at this 59.7 level this whole time. Kind of indecisive. Let's go portfolio update. The 1K to 10K Grok portfolio is currently down 571, 57.1%. Tyler said, "I'm glad I'm not just seeming to be blowing you off. LOL. Ours has to be completely opposite because every time you're on, I'm working, lol. Daylight savings completely ruined everything. Plus, the job that I'm on right now, I have to drive an hour and a half home. So, it's bullshit. I'm pissed. Anyways, Aptos, still the worst performer, down 75%. Damn. Sol, best performer, only down 18%. Then the meme coin portfolio, currently down 643, 64.3%. GigaChat is the worst performer, currently down 171. Is that right? Yeah. And then Doge, the best performer, only down 92. Then the narrative portfolio, my favorite and the most stable portfolio. Portfolio is made up of one meme coin, one artificial intelligence coin, one decentralized physical infrastructure coin, one real-world asset coin, and one gaming coin. And it is absolutely killing it. Currently only down 258, or 51.6%. Best performer Tau only down 28, and worst performer Fetch down 66. And then the perfect entry portfolio, last but not least, currently down 485, 48.5%. Best performer Chainlink only down 20. Render is the worst performer, down 70. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. Jeez, look at that drop. Holy crap. 437. I guess that's not that crazy. It's just relative. Holy shit. Oh, that's so bad. Oh no. 3 months. This portfolio, it was positive 3 months ago by like a couple bucks. And then it just plummets. Holy crap. I will say, the bright side here, the bright side of this whole situation, the argument that we are in a 12-month long typical 4-year cycle bear market, is that October 2026 is the bottom. And we're already 3 months in. So we got almost a whole quarter out of the way. We only got 3 more to go. What we just experienced for the past 3 months, we only have to do 3 more times, guys. It's not that bad. That's if. Pickle Rick said, and that's how the cookie crumbles. Indeed. Cheers, guys. Happy Tuesday. Happy Christmas Eve. I'm so excited to not work for the next 5 days. Ooh, that's gonna be crazy. I'm so excited. All right, market is taking a big fat doo-doo. Why? I guess it's just alts. ETH is holding up okay, I suppose. Let's go bug Grok a little bit. Do you think the altcoin market is going to recover at all within the next 6 months? Nope, 3 months. Let's see what Grok says. Now, Grok in the past has told us that it thinks within the next 6 months we are going to see a pretty explosive move to the upside because of rate cuts and a new Fed chair. And money printing, quantitative easing, that's what it was. Grok thinks that quantitative easing is officially going to start within the next 6 months. The altcoin market has faced significant underperformance throughout 2025, with Bitcoin dominance hovering around 60% in mid to late December, its highest levels in months, and the altcoin season index sitting as low as 12 to 18, far below the 75 threshold needed for a broad altcoin rally. This reflects capital flowing preferentially into Bitcoin as a perceived safe haven amid macroeconomic uncertainty, regulatory shifts, and a broader crypto pullback that wiped out over $1 trillion in total market cap since October highs. See October, November, December. Short-term outlook, next 3 months, January through March 2026. A strong, broad recovery in altcoins over the next 3 months appears unlikely based on current data and analyst consensus. Here's why. persistent Bitcoin dominance, and market weakness. Sources like Cointelegraph and Caprioli, that's an Italian name, holy crap, investments highlight ongoing altcoin capitulation, with metrics showing only 8 to 21% of top altcoins outperforming Bitcoin recently. Total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin has dropped 32% from its October peak, losing key support levels. Bearish signals into early 2026. Some analysts note historical patterns where January, February in certain cycle years, post having midpoints or midterm election years, bring weakness. On-chain data and breadth indicators suggest the market is in a late cycle distribution phase, with risks of deeper corrections if demand doesn't rebound. Liquidity and sentiment caution. Global liquidity remains moderate, and retail institutional flows favor blue chip assets, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Extreme fear in sentiment indices and thinning order books for altcoins amplify downside risk. Potential for selective recovery. That said, full altcoin collapse isn't the base case either. Some contrarian views point to delayed but viable rotation later in 2026, potentially starting in Q1, Q2, if Bitcoin stabilizes or peaks. Fed rate cuts improve risk appetite. Regulatory clarity, new ETFs or acts boosts inflows. Certain high utility altcoins, example AI, DeFi, RWAs, like ETH ecosystem projects, Solana or Chainlink, could see selective gains or bottoming signals, as noted in reports from MXC and others, but a widespread alt-season rally, where most altcoins surge aggressively, is more commonly forecasted for the second half of 2026, aligned with historical post-halving patterns, 12 to 18 months after the 2024 halving. Interesting. Bottom line, in summary, I don't expect a meaningful altcoin market recovery in the next 3 months. The environment favors consolidation or further weakness, with Bitcoin continuing to dominate. Any upside would likely be limited to a handful of strong fundamental projects rather than a broad rebound. Crypto markets are highly volatile and cycle driven, so monitor Bitcoin dominance closely. A sustained drop below 55 to 60 would be the key signal for altcoin momentum shifting. Always do your own research and consider risk management, as predictions can shift with macro events. Interesting. All right. Bitcoin is still boring. 87,230. Let's go refresh the liquidation heat map since we got some liquidations that have happened. Gourmet Brands of Brooklyn said, "Got around. Have a Merry Christmas." I'll take it easy, Gourmet Brands of Brooklyn. Appreciate you for stopping by. Cheers, my friend. Billy said, "Are you using free grok or you have the pay version?" I probably know what the answer is. Look who I'm asking, LMAO. I mean, I pay for a premium. I'm using Grok 4.1, which I think is free right now. Like, I think that's free anyways, but I do pay for Twitter Premium. That's like one of the few things that I actually pay for. See, unfortunately, that's the only one. I want to do something, actually. I want to do a little experiment. Let's go ask Google the same thing. Google's AI. Google Gemini. That's what it's called. And bam, I'm going to go ahead and ask, do you think the altcoin market is going to recover within the next 3 months? This is the free one. Predicting the next 3 months in crypto is notoriously difficult, but as of late December 2025, the data suggests the market currently caught between a leverage reset and a potential liquidity-driven rebound in early 2026. While many altcoins have struggled recently, here's the breakdown of the factors that could drive a recovery or continued stagnation through March 2026. The current state, the Bitcoin season hurdle. The biggest headwind for altcoins right now is Bitcoin dominance. It is currently hovering around 59 to 60%, which is historically a level where capital stays parked in Bitcoin for safety. Altcoin season index currently sits at approximately 17 out of 100, indicating we are firmly in Bitcoin season. For a broad altcoin recovery, this index typically needs to cross above 75. Market sentiment. The Fear and Greed Index has recently dipped into extreme fear zone around 16 following liquidations in Q4 2025. Broad recoveries usually don't happen until the sentiment stabilizes. The case for a Q1 2026 recovery. Several macro factors point to a potential risk-on shift starting in January or February 2026. Global liquidity. Analysts like Rob Paul suggest a liquidity supercycle may begin in January 2026, driven by U.S. fiscal stimulus and weakening dollar. Altcoins often act like small cap tech stocks that explode when liquidity increases. Institutional shift. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs established. Some expect the next wave of spot ETFs like Solana to be a major talking point in early 2026, which could spark a rotation into high cap altcoins. Regulatory clarity. The potential Clarity Act and other legislative moves expected in early 2026 could unlock a second wave of tokenization and stablecoin listings. The Great Fragmentation, Selective Recovery. Experts are increasingly warning that the rising tide lifts all boats era of altcoin seasons may be over. Instead of every coin pumping, we are seeing a fragmented recovery. Winners, narratives like AI-powered protocols, decentralized physical infrastructure, and Solana-based apps are showing resilience. Losers, older legacy altcoins, and low-utility meme coins are taking longer to recover as capital becomes more selective. Summary outlook next 3 months. Expected dynamic. January 2026. Consolidation, likely a period of bottoming out as the market recovers from December's low liquidity and tax loss harvesting. February 2026, the pivot. If global liquidity increases as forecasted, we may see a rotation from Bitcoin into blue chip alts, ETH, Sol. March 2026, selective rally, a potential mini alt season focused on specific narratives like AI and real world assets. Interesting. The bottom line, a total market recovery within 90 days is possible, but depends heavily on Bitcoin stabilizing above 90K to 100K. If Bitcoin remains volatile or drops further toward the 80K floor, the altcoin market will likely stay range-bound or continue to bleed. Would you like me to look into specific price predictions or technical levels for a particular altcoin you're holding? Okay, so we got kind of two different answers. Grok was more bearish, like dead set on bearish, whereas Gemini had, a little more dynamic results, it seems. And it seemed politically correct where it was very much like a maybe, and it's based strictly on liquidity and, rotation. I don't know. It's interesting to consult the different AI models for sure. Billy said, you pay for Grok? Dude, I'm impressed. I don't pay for Grok. I pay for Twitter Premium. Grok just comes with it. But I think Grok is free right now for everyone. So it's kind of a perk that I pay for that I don't need to pay for. I'm just paying for the blue chip, man. Tyler said, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Tyler. Guys, I'm going to call it an evening. We're at 69 minutes. Nice. Bitcoin is chilling at 87,265 and 63 cents. I don't know what Christmas is going to look like. I don't know what Christmas Eve is going to look like, but I do know that I'm going to be here reporting live every single day along the way. As always, guys, when Bitcoin starts to do anything crazy, I'll hop back on. Otherwise, I will see you all tomorrow. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Happy Tuesday. Happy Merry Christmas Eve, and good night.